Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. Now, if you're a small business owner, I really want you to take a second right now and just picture your physical storefront. You pour your absolute heart, your soul, and frankly, a huge amount of capital into this business, right? You're stocking shelves, building displays, totally optimizing your operations just to protect that bottom line. But what actually happens after you flip that sign to closed and head home for the night? Well, today I'm going to be stepping into the role of your expert advisor. We're looking at a crucial brief from the commercial security pros over at the Affordable Security Shutters team. And we're going to explore exactly why optimizing your storefront's physical defense, it's just no longer optional. It is absolutely essential for your business's survival. We are talking real, actionable strategies to protect your livelihood. And I've got to hit you right between the eyes with a really harsh reality, straight from our source material. Get this. By the year 2026, a modern retail smash and grab takes less than 60 seconds. Think about that time frame for a second. Less than a minute. That is literally all it takes for a bad actor to completely shatter your peace of mind, wreck your property, and wipe out your most valuable inventory. In under 60 seconds, that carefully curated shop you've built can be devastated. In the world of emergency response times, that's just the blink of an eye. Okay, let's dive into this. Because of that terrifying speed, the entire threat landscape for retail spaces is fundamentally shifting. What the data from our source really underscores here is a rising tide of retail theft and vandalism, and it's happening on a global scale. This is not just some isolated issue in a couple of neighborhoods. It's a massive, widespread trend that demands a robust, highly calculated response from every single proactive shop owner out there. Look, the whole smash and grab tactic relies entirely on speed and overwhelming surprise. The criminals know exactly how much time they have, and they exploit the obvious vulnerabilities of traditional storefronts to get in and get out way before anyone can even process what just happened.
Now, for decades, the absolute gold standard defense was just glass and an alarm. That was it. But, as our source points out, relying on that combination is a massive, fatal flaw. Why? Because it is completely reactive. By the time that alarm is actually ringing, well, the glass is already broken, your perimeter is breached, and honestly, you're already way too late. Contrast that with physical security shutters. These offer a real-world, truly proactive solution. They actually stop the threat before it ever even reaches the glass. It's an undeniable, solid physical barrier that lets you dictate the terms of engagement, instead of just reacting to an attack that's already in full swing. To really wrap our heads around this solution, we're drawing directly on the commercial security guidance from the Affordable Security Shutters team. And listen, these aren't just folks sitting in an office theorizing. This team bases their insights on real-world storefront protection, rigorous installations, and actual boots-on-the-ground service experience all across Northern California. They are literally on the front lines of this rising tide of vandalism. They see exactly what fails, and more importantly, they see what actually holds the line. When you're making major decisions about protecting your livelihood, you absolutely need advice rooted in that kind of undeniable, practical experience. Because at the end of the day, you need advice that actually works when it counts. So that brings us to a really crucial point. We need to ask ourselves, are security shutters just a physical barrier? It's a vital pivot question for you to consider as a business owner. It's super easy to look at a heavy-duty shutter and just see basic theft prevention, right? But the source material actually challenges us to look a lot deeper than that. These shutters symbolize a much larger commitment. Yes, they represent a commitment to safety, absolutely, but also to the broader functionality and even the overall aesthetics of your business. Having them signals to your community, your customers, and especially to potential threats that you run a really tight, secure, professional operation. Because beyond simply stopping criminals dead in their tracks, which is obviously goal number one here, these systems actually optimize your daily business operations in some pretty amazing ways. The experts highlight 4 specific, completely unexpected benefits that security shutters bring to the table. We're talking about perks that go way beyond stopping a midnight smash and grab and actually improve your day-to-day workflow, lower your overhead costs, and build long-term business resilience. Let's break these down one by one so you can really see the full return on this investment. First up is enhanced privacy. As a business owner, you know your inventory is your lifeblood. Now imagine you're doing a late-night inventory count, or maybe you're unboxing some really high-end seasonal stock. Leaving all of that visible through a giant glass window, you're essentially painting a huge target on your own back. Security shutters give you the immediate ability to just block prying eyes completely. I mean, out of sight really does mean out of mind here. Plus, this lets you maintain strict confidentiality. Whether you're remodeling the store or just securing sensitive merchandise, pulling that shutter down simply ensures that your business stays your business, at least until you're ready to open those doors again. Moving on to the second benefit, cost-effective protection. Look, as a shop owner, you live and die by your overhead.
If you wanted serious physical protection without using shutters, you'd probably be looking at hiring round-the-clock security guards. And we all know what that means. Ongoing wages, benefits, liabilities, just a massive constant drain on your monthly budget. But installing durable security shutters, that is a one-time investment. You pay for the installation once, and then you just reap the long-term benefits year after year without that absolutely compounding monthly payroll expense hanging over your head. It's just smart capital allocation that protects your bottom line. Now here is a totally surprising one, and this brilliantly illustrates the hidden value here: energy efficiency. This is where physical security actually intersects directly with your utility bills. Modern shutter systems, specifically the energy-efficient models, act as an incredible thermal barrier for your storefront. They significantly minimize heat transfer. So think about the blazing heat of summer. They literally keep the sun from turning your shop into a giant greenhouse. Honestly, they give your AC unit a much-needed break, drastically lowering your cooling costs. And in the winter, they give you an extra layer of insulation against the cold, slashing your heating bills. They are actively working to protect your profit margins 24 hours a day, literally just by being closed.
And rounding out the four benefits is weather resistance. Because, let's face it, the rising tide of retail theft isn't the only unpredictable force you have to deal with out there. Mother Nature is right there with it. Weather-resistant shutters are specially designed to protect those fragile glass storefronts from severe environmental damage. Whether we're talking about sudden crazy storms, heavy hail, or just wild fluctuations in temperature, these heavy-duty shutters ensure your physical location stays perfectly defended. Because a smashed window from a rogue hailstorm disrupts your business just as badly as a smashed window from a vandal, right? Shutters protect you against both. Okay, so we've covered the really severe threat landscape, and we've explored the multifaceted benefits of this solution. Now let's transition into actually planning your own storefront protection. Because as your advisor, I never want to leave you with just a bunch of theory. You need to know exactly how to take all this info and turn it into a concrete, actionable plan for your specific shop. And the Affordable Security Shutters team, they use a highly structured consultation process to help business owners exactly like you figure out precisely what system makes the most sense. They break it down into this really efficient, totally free, 4-step security assessment. Step 1, they review the physical architecture of your shop's openings, checking out the doors, the windows, and spotting any specific vulnerabilities. Step 2, they assess your unique risk level. Because a high-end jewelry store on a busy street has very different needs than a quiet suburban hardware store. Step 3, they review your budget to find a really robust solution that actually protects you without bankrupting you. And finally, Step 4, they take all those factors and recommend the exact right custom fit for your specific location. It's just a totally systematic way to solve the problem.
All right, I want to leave you with this incredibly stark, defining quote straight from the experts themselves. They say, if you're relying on just glass and an alarm, you're already too late. Just let that sink in for a second. When you look at your storefront tonight as you're locking up, I want you to really ask yourself, are you truly protecting your livelihood, your inventory, and this amazing business you've worked so incredibly hard to build? Or are you just waiting for an alarm to tell you that it's all already gone? It is a heavy question, guys, but answering it proactively, that is the absolute key to your business's survival. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay secure out there.